cursory search online would lead you to believe that this movie is bottom of the barrel dog crap. It doesn't matter if it's social platforms like the one you're watching this video on, where the commentators live, or the dreaded critic-riddled bunghole that is Rotten Tomatoes. You'll find hyperbolic, exaggerative language that would lead you to believe this is one of the worst films to come out of Hollywood in the past decade. I literally saw some buffoon try to compare it to Madame Web. Yeah. Madame Web, unanimously one of the worst films ever made. So, like many will likely do this weekend, I went into the theater thinking Aries was going to be more of the same trash we've gotten from not only Disney, but from most of the entertainment sphere of late. And guess what? They were freaking wrong. Once again, the guidance from these trusted sources was bad intel. I'm having a sort of flashback or deja vu to when many in the creator sphere brought out pitchforks for the new Superman or Thunderbolts movies, which I ended up liking both of. Or even when the critics overhyped up one battle after another and gave it glowing reviews, but you quite literally could not pay me to ever watch that film ever again. In both instances, I was led astray by people that consider themselves the go-to influencers. I'm not saying Aries is movie of the year, but dude, I really did have a lot of fun. This is the exact type of thing that people want from the theater experience. They want excitement. They want something that is worth hearing and seeing on the big screen. They want to be, wait for it, entertained. And for the most part, Tron Aries gives that in spades. It looks fantastic and it sounds equally as good. The visuals and action aren't too far off from what we got from Tron Legacy, and the soundtrack from Nine Inch Nails, while not as good as the one we got for Legacy, which was done by Daft Punk, still totally slaps. Is this a case of style over substance? Absolutely, I'm not gonna lie. But in all honesty, so was Tron Legacy, and it is still one of my favorite films of all time. Guess who doesn't need flawless writing or to be spoon-fed a message? This guy. Guess who also doesn't care if you call them a complete and total idiot for simply wanting to have fun? Also this guy. Once the ball starts rolling in Aries, things don't stop. It's not some exposition-heavy bore. It's just a simple story. And I did say this wasn't perfect earlier. You can see the modern-day Disney shining through. Go ahead and get out your DEI checkbox sheet. They made sure to keep this as hyper-diverse as possible, to the point that it is overly obvious. But compared to most modern Disney projects, this is only a visual aspect, really. They don't bludgeon you over the head with how virtuous they are or dig into the sexual identity stuff. We also do get that rich white guy bad trope, but it never goes as far as films like the recent The Batman movie, where they verbally point this out. But all this stuff wasn't my biggest issue. Obviously, I've alluded to subpar writing and the Disneyisms that I mentioned, but these are all things in the back of my mind that I knew that specific folks would be calling out or asking about. The real overall issues with Aries lie in the fact that the movie almost completely abandons Tron Legacy. The previous characters, Sam Flynn, Korra, and Tron himself, are all but non-existent and are hand-waved away in the opening credits. Fans of Legacy are likely going to have a really big issue with this, and I know I did. Granted, that brings me to another one of my big worries and all of this hyper-dramatic negative press. I feel people aren't going to give Aries a shot. It's likely going to bomb at the box office, and we will not get another chance in the Tron world for at least another 10 to 20 years. And now we've come full circle to where I kicked things off. The critics, the content creators, and what looks to me like a clear attempt to stop people from wanting to see this film, whether it be due to current Disney hatred, Jared Leto hatred, or all of the above. The perpetually online tend to get caught up in these echo chambers. Sometimes it's related to culture war hot topics, sometimes it's due to the need to be pretentious and have this elevated opinion on something, and it is regularly required to have an extreme opinion because algorithms demand it. You can't get clicks by being moderate. Having a more reasonable opinion doesn't get enough attention these days. And God forbid the people in whatever social sphere you reside in shame you for having a conflicting opinion on something everyone else has told you you're either required to love or hate. All of these issues have caused the critics and the creators alike to have a bigger disconnect with their viewers and readers. They've lost touch with the fact that the typical 9-to-5er, the regular viewer, isn't affected by all of these things. They just want to have fun at the movies, to be awarded a moment to spend their hard-earned money and disconnect from reality a little bit. And in my personal opinion, that's exactly what Tron Aries does. I know I'm going to be putting Tron Aries somewhere in that rad territory story on the Criticless scale, likely about a 70%. This is easily one of the better things that Disney has put out in recent years. Now, I realize that that's not saying much, and maybe our standards have lowered some, but it is still the case. I'm not going to promise you that everyone will absolutely love Aries. You might think it's only decent, but I do think that this is the type of film that should be seen in the theater. And I also think more of the general public will enjoy it, at least to some degree. So maybe the best thing to do at this point is to take everything said by the critics and the creators with a grain of salt. That even includes myself, and just try things out for yourself. We're at a point where I think more balanced, grounded, and less sensational voices can and will rise to the top. People are over the algorithms controlling our opinions, and even more importantly, we are at a point where a review platform like Criticless can rise to the top. We need a place where you can rely on regular folks like yourself, who are the general audience, to help decide if something is worth checking out. And luckily, I have already created it. It's even got a retro synthwave atmosphere just like Tron does. So give us a download from your app store, whether it be Android or Apple, and you could visit the site as well and find your own community within Criticless. Join a movement where the people dictate what we want to see in our entertainment. So until next time, later.